they don't know where to find it. And so I'm so glad that you found us and we found you. Thank, thank you, Ashkan, for your kind words, and appreciate the leaders who have mentored me, who have helped me, men and women, and I appreciate the opportunities that they have given me. Sandra, how about you? I would love to hear what lights you up. What is the
Oh,
project
well,
you're
well,
working on?
thank you. You've all inspired me. So I'm going to add a next layer. So imagine this greatest blessing in my life. I'm going to have 5 grandkids already. I've got 2 more this year, before end of October. So we'll have 7 grandbabies, all under 6. That lights up my whole essence of who I am. And I'm launching the Presence Lab. And this is a incredible opportunity for high power, trusted women who are doing incredible work, who are accomplished, but really don't have a space to grow, to really come into their own, to recalibrate. And I want to bring that word today, because when I was listening to all the other earlier speakers, it's about recalibration, isn't it? That's the light, that's the potential that we all have, the awareness. What do we want? How can we build stability into our lives, build that alignment within ourselves, express who we are, and then take sustained action. And for me, if I can show up in my presence with heart connected to source, to higher, for me, I'm a spiritual being, to God's divine, guidance is offering me to be of service, then my grandkids will see the authentic me. And that's the most beautiful gift in the world. You're on mute, Karen.
I know I have to get that cursor on the right spot to unmute myself. Yes, to be the best you can be, and to have more beautiful souls that are joining your family. What a joy! And I have been celebrating with you as I've been watching your family grow, and the beautiful experiences. And so thank you, and thank you for
And
helping
thank
us
you,
to
Karen. I want to just say thank you so much from my heart to you. You really are an incredible, exceptional person. And I want to invite all of your beautiful souls here to come on out and join me in this first immersive. It's going to be on a horse ranch. I would love to see everyone there, and just let's celebrate together. Always, everyone is welcome here in Canada. Come on up to Vancouver, and love to see you all. So thank you for this time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for reminding us to recalibrate, because things happen. And so we do. We have to recalibrate. We have to, get our bearings so that we can pivot and recalibrate. And so that's very, very important. And thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that so much. And Karen, how about you? What is lighting you up today? And in the
Oh,
future, what is on your horizon?
you know what? Right now, what's lighting me up is just with you, amazing women. I'm like, oh, sister, I'm with you. I feel that everything that everybody's saying. I'm like, yeah, we're soul sisters. I feel it. You know what really lights me up is I would really agree with Kendra is when others are kind of stepping into their own power and seeing people feel more confident and just understanding their superpowers that they have. One of my favorite activities to do in this little question, and I don't know if we have time for you all to answer, but I would love to hear, is what is your low-key superpower? And when I mean low key, I don't mean do you speak 8 languages, because then we all start comparing ourselves to each other. But what's your low key superpower? Are you really good at picking the right size Tupperware for the leftovers? Are you can untangle jewelry like a boss? Like what is that one thing that you may not think is super great or special about you, but you naturally do well? Because I feel like when we can speak well of ourselves, then we start to realize I have worth. I do have these things that just naturally are gifts given by God to me. And I think that's really just what lights me up, is watching other people find their worth. And it just touches my heart so much. So
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Karen. I love how you help other people find their worth. And I feel that energy from you. I immediately we had a conversation. I immediately was like, yes, you are my kind of woman. I want you to be a part of this. And thank you. Thank you for the abundant energy that you bring, and for the love in your heart that wants to help others so that they can remember who they are and then they can use their superpower, whether it's untangling jewelry
Well,
or
and Karen,
finding the Tupperware.
yours truly is empathy. You are so gifted with people, and people can feel your empathy and love. I mean, that's a very high key superpower, but that's one that I just absolutely admire. And all these women on here who are saying, we put too much on our plates and we don't have time to reach out for help. And I think, especially with improv, we often feel like improvisation is saying yes. And that's true. We say yes, but in improv as well, we say no. Because when you say no, it's saying yes to something else and something deeper and more important. So I would hopefully everyone remembers that you really need to remember that as women, we tend to pile on so much that's where chaos comes in. So sometimes you need to simplify and say no, because that means you're saying yes to yourself. And that's truly connecting with yourself a little better.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Karen. Very, very powerful. Wow. This was a powerhouse panel, and I just want to keep going. I just want to let them go. But we have some more women that I want to share with you. But first, I want to tell you that how important that is to be able to say yes and to be able to say no and and that's very important. I think the yes and is very crucial, because first we validate that thing and say, yes, that's a great idea, and it's not for me right now, or whatever, however you need to do that. But that acknowledgement is very important for both sides to know, just as we've talked about, to be able to be seen and heard. And as you were saying, and enabling people to have that opportunity to be seen and heard, to just hear, not to, and to listen with the heart, not just the words, but to really feel that and to understand where they're coming from. Because sometimes people say things and we are just like baffled. I often say, I am baffled by that. and it takes me some pondering to kind of be curious and to have that wonderment, like Becky was talking about, in the yet uncertain. But through that curiosity, we can regain that understanding, and we can find ways to do that. And that is how we can then build. And that's what we want to do, is we want to build. We want to be able to empower each other and to be able to strengthen each other. Yes, such powerful, phenomenal ladies. Thank you all. Thank you, Sandra and Dr. Anna and Kendra and Karen. Thank you for being with us, and can't wait to have you on again.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Well, our next host and our next guest, first she's going to be a guest and then she's going to be a host, is Debbie Prediger. And she is coming to us from Canada. And we are so grateful for her and for her energy and for all that she does to bring so much to the Global Women's Journal. Debbie was one of our inaugural members, and she is living in Canada sometimes. Sometimes she's in Mexico. She travels around. She often has opportunities to speak in different places, and it is such a joy to hear from her. So I am grateful for her wisdom. I'm grateful for all that she shares, and I'm going to allow Debbie to introduce herself.
Oh my goodness, Karen. You can see that the smile on my face is so huge right now, because I'm sitting in the back room listening to these women, feeling the hearts, feeling the passion. And honestly, somebody's saying big echo. I'm not hearing an echo. Is there? Okay.
I think there was an echo, but there is still an echo. I don't know what
Okay,
to do about that
let me
echo.
talk and the echo is from Debbie's feed. Okay, interesting. Hello, hello, hello. Testing.
Better. Awesome.
Okay, let me just say again how privileged and honored I am to be here today, to have this type of relationship that Karen can not only call me up and say, hey, I'd love for you to speak on a panel, but also for those that I got to invite to speak on a panel. And so this is the ripple effect. This is us showing up in our brilliance. This is true leadership. And this is how we amplify each other. But what I did start to say as Karen invited me on is that I was smiling ear to ear. My cheeks hurt. And the reason they hurt is like, again, soul sister, the comments that are in the thing. I'm in the back room listening to these women. I'm wanting to high five them. So yes to all that and more. So the yes and. Thank you, Karen.
Yes, I agree. And so, is there still like, okay, we'll just take turns whose mic is open and see if that helps. If it doesn't, then I'll just let Debbie bring up her people and introduce them. So, is yours muted right now? Debbie, are you muted?
No, I do not have. Your voice is echoing through Debbie's mic. So let me turn my mic.
Okay, well, I think we just have to have one mic open at a time for some reason right now. So we'll just do that. And that's terrible because I want to laugh and I want to be with you in the moment. And I don't like being muted when I want to give you feedback. But so Debbie is, she's the founder of several organizations. I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about what she does because she has the Be Extraordinary Women's Network. She has a Shine Circle. She has many, many places where she empowers women, where she gives them opportunities to shine, as we've talked about, to find that spark within themselves. And then she empowers them to show that spark and to be able to do that. So Debbie has published her article in the first inaugural edition of the Global Women's Journal and in the second edition in the Global Women's Journal Leadership Edition. So Debbie has been with us from the very beginning. We are very grateful to have her and grateful to allow her to have this opportunity to tell us more about herself and to bring on her panel guests. So Debbie, I'm going to let you host. We'll take turns with our mic. I'll unmute myself when I'm ready to say something, and then I will let you introduce each of your wonderful guests. And we're so thankful for each one of them being here with us today.
Thank you so much. So Karen, you're bringing them up. I just am so honored to work alongside of these women and have been in their lives for quite some time. Some of them are students, some of them are co-creators, some are people I've looked up to, but it's such an honor. And that's setting the tone of the type of people that I get to hang around with. That's really what I'm doing here, is showing you a variety of the style of women and the quality of leaders that I get the privilege of being with. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to kick off with introducing Karen. Is that all right? Okay. So I'm going to start with Brandy Mungia. I actually said it right. I introduced her another time in my life and I messed it up. And like she said, you'll never make that mistake again. But Brandy is somebody that I have kind of joined this whole leadership path, everything that I do. And I got to look at her and watch her up level, and I got to follow her and I got to dream a little bit. But we've had some extraordinary experiences together, and it's somebody, when I think leadership, I think Brandy. So Brandy, why don't you come on up and introduce yourself as well?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Debbie. It is always, always, always an honor to get to share this incredible space with all these amazing women. And I think it's so, when we were talking about everyone here talking about synergy and how things really come together, it was magnetic when I met Debbie. And I had a wonderful career getting to be an executive director for Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, and I ran masterminds for several years. And that's how I got aligned with Debbie. She's absolutely incredible. And what has been so transformational for me today is hearing the diversity of the background, not just the backgrounds of each woman here, but I hope everyone heard the beauty in perseverance. And everyone here has the story of resilience and perseverance. And so it is just an honor to get to share this space with all of you. And so thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely my honor and privilege. I apologize, everybody, if we're still having feedback. I'm going to continue on unless it gets too bad, Karen, and then just boot me out. I'm going to introduce Lonnie next. Now, Lonnie comes from Hawaii, which is always one of those places that we all dream of going. But the other thing that I've fallen in love with Lonnie is, number one, she's a caregiver in its truest form. That form of as a mother, as a wife, as a sister, as a friend. and she lives it and breathes it. She really has been one of these people that have shared her wisdom for years. This isn't her first stage. This isn't her first access to leadership. And I can't wait to have Lonnie just share a little bit about herself as well.
Thank you so much, Debbie. And I'm so grateful that you texted me to join you for this panel. Yes, I'm here in Hawaii, way out in the middle of the Pacific. And so having these kind of connections is really important to me because I feel sometimes disconnected on this little island. So especially with women, I've had a lifelong journey of caregiving. I'm the oldest of my siblings. And so several years ago, actually, when I retired from my full-time job, the idea or the seed of writing a book had finally come to a time where it needed to be developed. And so my first book was about my caregiving journey as a sibling, as a mother, as a wife, now a grandmother. I think one of the speakers before said she's got 2 more coming this year. I have 1 more, number 7, coming in July, grandchildren. And but really finding my space after retirement from doing somebody else's job or, filling somebody else's mission was what was my mission and purpose. And that was really to help caregivers realize that in the midst of that chaos, you must find self-care in order to survive. And the lessons that I learned from that are what I have written about in my first book and now my second book, and am continuing to share with the world. So that's
We love it. Thank you for doing that. We'll bring you back up. Okay, now I have the privilege of introducing Shannon. Now, Shannon is somebody I've known in a community for a long time, but you know how you think you know somebody, but you really don't until you get to sleep with them? Well, guess what? Me and Shannon got to sleep together in Paris last year. So if that isn't an introduction, no, this is the life that we lead. We get to go on retreats and we get to really know each other, and we often share accommodations. And me and Shannon got to know each other in such a beautiful way. And then she's joined our Leadership Momentum Accelerator program. You're seeing her everywhere because she is truly accelerating and building that momentum. Shannon, why don't you come and introduce yourself to us?
Thank you so much, Debbie, and I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you, Karen, for putting this together. I'm so honored and privileged to have the opportunity to be in this room with all of you and in the whole event. So thank you for that, first of all. And I just really want to say that it's interesting how in life we have these preconceived ideas that we are not almost born into. I know with a Mexican father and a Spanish family, it was very, very important what your status was, what your job was. And I always identified myself and was very proud of my accomplishments as a sales and marketing director and traveling all over South America on my own and all these things that were really exciting. And I felt very successful on the outside, but actually deep down, and I get chills as I say this, I was really disconnected from myself, and I didn't even really know it. I just felt this emptiness that I couldn't quite fill with all the exciting things I was doing. I just couldn't fill it. And so at least I think it was about 6-7 years ago now, I really went on this journey to fill that emptiness, basically. And I rediscovered who I was, and it's a kind of a little bit of a funny story, but basically I was asked by my coach at the time when I was trying to figure things out, well, what would a date with you look like? And what do you actually love? And I just cried because it sounded horrible to actually just go on a date with myself. Even though I was successful on the outside, the idea of my own company was not so appealing. So I went on this journey and I figured out what I love, and I really reconnected with myself. And it's a journey that I am on every single day. And I've learned the art of dating myself, and it's part of my passion to share that with others, because even though I thought after many, many failed relationships that I would never, ever, ever think about having a partner, much less getting married, eventually, because I was so full on the inside and so joyful and so open and so complete, I just opened the door a tiny bit, and here I am almost 3 years later and super happily married and living my absolute best life. And that's what I truly want for all people, not just women, but all men and women, to experience this level of joy in my 50s that I never thought was possible. And it's really the journey inward, reconnecting with yourself, reconnecting with your heart, with your passions, with what you love, and really not only just paying attention to everything that's going on outside of you, and like most of us, taking care of everything else, and what we're conditioned to believe, that if we're successful, if we take care of everyone else and take care of everything else and have the accomplishments. But if I could believe that the greatest love for all of us lives within each one of us. And if we can really deeply connect with that, we can connect much more deeply with other people. Our relationships expand, our accomplishments and our joy and whatever we're doing for our life also exponentially expands. And that's just a little bit of an introduction about my deep passion for people and connection, and bringing the reconnection to ourselves, to our heart.
Oh my goodness. We're going to be back. You dropped the mic several times, and we will be back to talk about that a little bit more. The last panelist, and definitely not the least, is Dr. Stacey Moore. And now Dr. Stacey is somebody that I have met online, didn't know her before. Nobody introduced me to her. There wasn't even a warm reference or a handshake, but I instantly knew that she was a soul sister. Not only did I know that, but this is built over time, and I get chills as I say that, because the deeper we go with meeting somebody where they are, and then really hearing their fears, their objections, their desires, and then being there, standing shoulder to shoulder with them, you really become part of a mission together. And that is what I would love to just introduce her on. And she is definitely somebody on a mission. And boy, does she have some skills. So let's bring her to the stage, and we'll have you introduce yourself.
Hey, I am Dr. Stacey Moore, aka the Operator. So right now, I'd like to say that the strongest thing for me is I have a framework that is sacred systems and strategic results. So I'm going to be your more tech-sided person, but with the I call it rounded corners because of the sacred alignment. So that framework is about having women go back to themselves, to find themselves before they move to the next thing. Because I find in small business, or as a solopreneur, you go off and you start doing everything that everybody else says, and you find yourself lost. We already find ourselves lost, but then in the business world on top of it, which is another layer. And so from that framework, I've then created and founded Royal Table Queens. And that is a community and ecosystem that is focused on Gen X women and those that serve them, and allow them to come in and meet them where they are, so that they have an opportunity to increase their visibility, to create more credibility, which we know we need right now in this trust recession. And then also those people that are already there, how do they create more impact with scaling out, and then going beyond and allowing the ripple effects to overlap themselves so that they can leave a larger legacy. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it off so we can get to the questions for everybody. And I'm just going to say operator out on that moment.
Yes, thank you so much. So you can fully understand that I am surrounded with women leaders. That you can feel, that you have evidence. We have heard their passion, we have heard their missions, and I'd love to have them on the stage for hours, but we have about 10 minutes to share. So I'm going to ask each and every one of you a separate question to try to pull something out that's really important. And I'm going to start with you, Brandy. What is that thing that you know every woman needs as foundational to step into her leadership?
Ooh, this is such a good question, Debbie. And thank you for asking it, because leadership isn't just executing goals and pointing people in directions. I think there's something powerful about mastering the art of duality as a leader. I think a lot of us here can speak volume to this, but especially because we're speaking volume to women leadership, is that we master the art of duality by leading in our businesses while also leading in our homes and leading ourselves. And it's this ability for us to lean into courageous action, being able to compartmentalize when we're experiencing difficulty, and then being able to truly lead by example in our own discernment in everything that we do. And leadership isn't just, cheerleading. Leadership is often facing the difficult things, making decisions that are difficult. And one of the biggest, most powerful things you can do in your life as leaders, if there's one thing I could leave you with, is that you can have a public presence and a very private life. And being able to lead in ways where you lead your teams, you lead your friends, your family, your peers, and you still have things for you that are uniquely yours, not only to process and cherish, but that you don't have to place everything for public view, and to really hold close to you, that you can have your privacy in all of this that you're building, right? And I think a lot of these women here have these incredible empires and these incredible pieces, and there's power in protecting what that means to you in your private life. And so one thing I love to share with everyone in Mastering Duality is that you can hold and foster presence and pressure at the same time. And I think there's a lot of power in our abilities to do that as leaders. So that's my a quick answer.
Thank you.
Great
Power.
question.
Now, that might have been a quick answer, but that was a powerful answer. And so if you guys are watching in the chat, please let the speakers know what resonated with you. Please pay attention to the words that are echoing in your ear, because that matters. I'm going to skip up the order a little bit, and I'm going back to Shannon. So Shannon, the question that I had for you is, what have you had to decide in order to get out of your own way and actually be visible?
Oh, that's such a powerful question. I really wanted to get the message out there, but I was really afraid to do it alone, to be honest. I love connection. I love people. And I really wanted to get the message out there, and I could do it in a professional way. But when it was coming from my heart, and having had a wall up for many years, I had to really step up and ask for help, actually, to get out of my own way. And of course, Debbie, I can't think of anyone more powerful and amazing to work with than you. So I'm super grateful for that, because really having an amazing team around you helps to lift you up when you're feeling that you're not sure what the next step is or how to get the message out there. And just collaborating and connecting and working with an amazing group of people is the way that I've decided, made the decision to get out of my own way and really hold hands with you and with the Shine Circle and with all the women involved, to be able to shine together. And that's the most important thing with your Leadership Momentum Accelerator opportunity, is where it's really allowed me to come into my full light. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, we're so grateful for you, Shannon. And because honestly, I never want anybody to be the best kept secret. Brandy knows that we sat in Zoom rooms of hundreds of thousands of people telling us about their mission and their message, but they didn't want to share it. They were scared to share it. And what true leadership is to me is deciding that your message matters and that you are going to step forward and do that. So my question to Dr. Stacey, because she has definitely been on stages, she's definitely connected with a lot of the most amazing people, is what does it take to stand in your power and someone else's stage at the same time? How do you master that duality?
Ooh, it's by creating the relationship in advance. That's totally what I'm going to say, the relationship. So just as how I got here. And so now I get to go back and give the thank yous for this. You know, this is the Los Angeles Tribune. And then we're talking about Global Women's Journal, which then is connected to Debbie Prediger, which means that I had to be in her ecosystem in order for her to see me, part of my visibility, for me to have that credibility, and for her to know that I wanted more. So it's easy to stand in a place that already has those things when somebody is connecting you to it. It is a warm transfer. And so the more times that you become visible, so when you do speak out, when you do use whatever method it is, it may be written, it may be contributing to articles, it may be through audio, it may be a audio podcast versus a video. Whatever it is, you've got to use your words and to speak out. And so I'd like to say that I'm the voice for those that don't have one until they have the wisdom to know that they do. And it's for some of the reasons, as Shannon was saying, that it's there. It's there in so many women. We're just afraid to say it because that's how we've been trained. That's how we've been pressured. That's how we've been pushed back. But not this year. We're going to do everything we can. And with Debbie and the Shine Circle, you know, the LA Tribune, we're going to do all that we can do, like right now, and make a global impact with every single voice, including those in the comments.
Oh my goodness, another mic drop. Thank you so much. So Lonnie, my question for you, because you've been doing this for quite some time. You've built a brand, you have hosted retreats, you do workshops for other organizations, and yet somehow maybe a tiny piece of a message or a collaboration or a strategy was missing. So what do you feel now today was the missing link, and or what would you love to tell the women here that they can do it too?
Wow. I'm just checking to make sure my mic is on. Okay. I think for me, yes, because I had been doing a lot of this, trying to build a brand, being on podcasts, the missing link for me was really feeling or finding a community where I felt safe and supported, so that I could expand on that message and that work. That even writing my books, it's getting that word out. That's a lot of work to get your book seen and heard. And so it was really just, how do I do that? Where do I do that? And finding the Be Extraordinary Women's Network and the Shine Circle just really put me in a place, in a community that put me in that position where I could be seen and heard, and be able to really deliver the message that I feel the universe, the world has put me here to share.
You know, that was the mic drop. The world that the universe has had me here to share. If you don't mind, Karen, I would love for you to come back on camera because I have a question for you, and I'm just so grateful for all of the speakers. But my question for you, Karen, is you help people be more visible. You produce these events, you build relationships, you help build stages for yourself, but also for others and in collaboration. What is the thing that you feel is the most important piece of that job that you have said yes to?
Well, thank you for asking. And the most important piece of that is really finding the match for that person. If they feel ready to publish their story, then let's do that. And oftentimes the match is the desire. Where is that seed of desire in them? If they are feeling called to speak on the stage, then we start with that. Many times a person may be in the position that I used to be in, where I was scared to death to share my message. So if they didn't have podcasts back then, but if they would have, I would have probably felt a little safer starting with the podcast or starting with a small group. So you start with where you are, and as a facilitator of that, and I know you understand this, Debbie, I find out where they are. What is it that what their heart desires, what is the next natural step for them to take. And then I help to find a way for them, find a stage for them, find a panel where they can come in and start for, a few minutes, find a larger stage, a longer panel to publish an article first, and then maybe a book later. So yes, I think that that's the most important part for me, is to be aware and to draw out, because many times a person will say, oh, no, I don't want to write a book. But I think 99% of us have a book in there. But only 6% of us actually write it, and 1% of us actually publish it after we write it. And so it's the same with stages. All of us have something that we'd love to talk about. If we find someone who loves to listen, I mean, if you're talking to someone and they're like this and they want to hear it, don't you just have something to say, usually? But that's the difference, is being in a safe environment where I can help them to share what those desires are and pour out. And then we can say, let's find the match for you. And let me help empower you to overcome any fears and limiting beliefs so that you can get in that area, that position, that stage, so that you can share that message. So thank you for asking that question, Debbie. I'm going to let you wrap this up.
I appreciate the answer, and I know we're going to commercial right now, so I will wrap it up quickly. Thank you to the Los Angeles Tribune for inviting me to host this. Thank you for the faith in me, Karen, to do it, and to find these beautiful speakers that said yes at the last minute. Honestly, they didn't even know what they were saying yes to. They just said yes to themselves. And that's the type of people I want to work with every day, all day long. And so those of you that have been in the comments, we appreciate you. We're going to come back and we're going to connect with you, and keep leading. Just do it. Show up for yourself, show up for others, show up for those that you've been called to serve, and continue on. Thank you, everybody.
Ever heard the spotlight isn't for everyone? They're wrong. Let us show you why. Command the Room Boot Camp. Get the assist, take the hot seat, and use this QR code for special summit pricing. Debbie! That was an incredible camp. Oh my gosh, you guys were wonderful.
Thank you so much, Barbie. I'm assuming you're hosting next, so kick us out of the green room.
Well, I would never kick you out of anywhere.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye. I love Debbie. She is a community builder, and this panel she put together, I love that she admitted that the panel came together like that. And I love the fact that everybody said yes and stepped up with such empowering stories and such wonderful intentions. Today has been an incredible, incredible day. Karen, you have put together a powerhouse of women from the moment it started until right now. Everything has just been incredible. We have heard stories of leadership, triumph, heart, everything you can ever want to hear. We have heard it all today. And there's still a whole nother day tomorrow. I know that I have Nicole coming up, and she has a guest as well. But I guess since she's not here yet, let's talk a little bit more about some of the women we've listened to today. Becky Robbins, well, you could see her. She's up in the corner over here. I don't know my right from my left. Becky Robbins was on the cover of the leadership edition of the Global Women's Journal. And today she was talking about some really powerful things of being in the hospital and all these emotional things that happen when things happen in a split second that you're not anticipating. She was also talking about how resilience is so important with women. And if you think about all the incredible women that we've heard from today, what's the one commonality? Resilience. From Jackie and her panel to Debbie and her panel, every single speaker has talked about the power of resilience and the power of spark and being the magic in the room. But we're women. And so having a forum where we can talk about the fact that we multitask, the way men change socks. we don't have a choice, do we? Ladies, as a business owner, you have to juggle family. You have to juggle often caregiving. You have to juggle pretty much everything, because if you're a mom, if you're a speaker, if you're a business owner, the buck stops with you. Every moment of every day, the buck stops with you. And so we don't have time for problems. We don't have time to prioritize half the time. We need to, but think about it. All the speakers today have talked about times of triumph over adversity. But what they're really talking about is resilience as women, that we literally have to shine in the darkest of spaces. I couldn't be more proud than to be speaking on this forum with all these incredible, incredible leaders. So, what can we learn and what can we continue to do? Well, as leaders, we need to focus on all the wonderful gifts they've talked about today. Regulating your nervous system. And for me, I really believe in breathing in what I call a triangle. So if you find yourself in a position, in fact, command the room. The commercial we just heard, we're sponsoring this event. That is Karen and I. We are putting on a boot camp where we are working with speakers. So please, when you see that commercial, take your camera and shoot that if you want to learn more, because this event is giving you a huge discount. You can join this full day boot camp with a huge discount. But we're going to work with what we've all talked about today, techniques. So one of the techniques that if you're a speaker or you're about to do something that is giving you anxiety, this is a really great technique. I learned this because firemen use breathing when they get under anxiety, which, as you know, firemen have a huge amount of stress and pressure. So what I do is when I work with speakers or I work with leaders who are about to be in a pressure situation, I want you to think about breathing in a triangle. Okay? So think of an inverted pyramid. So we're going to start at the bottom. Okay? And you're going to take 10 deep breaths in as you ascend the triangle. Go across by holding for 10 and then breathe out for 10 beats. And when you do, I know it sounds ridiculous, but make a loud noise. Ooh, What that does is it releases the vagus nerve. So that allows you to regulate your nervous system. That allows your system to calm down and center you. Oh, I love this. Thank you. Yes, I love all the comments coming in. You all know box breathing, yes, is used by Marines. Thank you, Jackie. And I always do it in an upside down pyramid. I don't know why. I think because I really like that connection of being at one point and moving up, across, and back to that same point, that same triangle. But it's super important to regulate your nervous system and to make those noises to release your vagus nerve. Something else that I think really helps. So I'm just gonna fill you up while we're waiting for Nicole. I'm just gonna fill you up with a whole bunch of aha moments that I hope help you as leaders and speakers take that stage with passion and without fear. Something that, well, first of all, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I believe it was the National Mental Health Institute that said that 75% of all people are more afraid of speaking than death. Which I thought was hysterical. That's a great factoid. But what it means is that most people are afraid of that spotlight coming on them. And why is it? Why do we fear that? Well, we fear it because we think people are going to judge us. We feel we're not ready to take that space. We feel that maybe we don't have something important to say. Hi, Nicole. And it's so important for people to realize that fear, it's normal, it's natural. But real quick, Nicole, I just want to finish. Rephrase your mind. The way to get over that is recognize that fear is the same emotion as excitement. So if you take nothing else, rephrase that fear into excitement. That's the key. Because if you stand in line for 45 minutes to get on a roller coaster, and then you got them get in and put on your seatbelt, you're sitting in that seatbelt thinking, what the hell was I thinking? Get me off of this thing. I just watched 100 people scream as they dropped 1,000 feet screaming. That's taking a stage. That's holding a mic. That's having a moment in front of a group. But you know what? You waited for 45 minutes because it's exciting. Take that for the rest of your life. Reframe your fear into excitement and just tell yourself, I've waited my whole life to have this mic in my hand. I've waited this whole life for this position in my job where I tell the boardroom what's going on. Take the mic, take the stand, and tell yourself, this is your space. This is your moment. Hi, Nicole. Come on in. Sorry.
Hi, Barbie. Oh my gosh, that was so fantastic. I was thinking about the roller coaster. You were getting me right on there. I used to be very scared of them. But what you were saying is so true, that fear into excitement, right? Because it changes the way you feel almost instantly just by those words and those thoughts. And I love that. I love that. So thanks, Barbie. So good. So good.
Welcome
Well,
to the stage.
yes, thank you. I am so glad to be here. And, together, you and I'm really excited because our next guest we're going to have on is somebody that's very special to me. And I'm really honored to be here with you, Barbie. Barbie and I met a few years ago when we joined the Global Women's Journal, and it has been such a blessing. And as you can see, Barbie continues to make you smile and laugh and think of things in new ways. And I'm so grateful for that. So I would love to bring up our guest that we are going to have now, which is Lori Phillips, if we can get her up. Yay, there she is, Lori. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. So I have the pleasure of introducing our next guest, whom I met, oh my gosh, I think it's almost a year and a half ago. And this beautiful person here, Lori Phillips, is the founder of the Be Awesome Network, which is a community, a global community of over 24,000 people, which has been curated in less than 2 years by this incredible woman right here. And, Lori, I can tell you this, she's one of the most heartfelt people I've ever met. She is one of those people that can't wait to help people amplify their voices, make sure that they're getting their messages out, stepping into their highest level in their life that they can. And she has so many other beautiful things, gifts that she does for people. But I want to bring her on today because I think so many people need to know about this woman who truly is awesome, just like her network. And so, Lori, I would love for you to introduce yourself to everyone. Just share a little bit about yourself so that they can know. I know I shared a little bit, but I'd love you to share some more, please.
Thank you so much, Nicole. It's nice to meet you, Barbie, and everyone here. Thanks for watching and being a part. I love this platform. It's actually new to me. I've done StreamYard before, but this is so cool. So I'm clicking around, making comments, trying to share it in my audience last minute. We'll have to do that next time. But I'm Lori. I am, like Nicole said, the founder of the Be Awesome Network. And Barbie, I love what you shared about fear to excitement. I went through a major crash, and Nicole knows this. We kind of bonded over our life experiences, and that's really why I started the Be Awesome Network, is because I went through this horrible experience and came out the other side feeling awesome. And I was like, well, if I can feel this way, I know other people are out there, and I would love to create a community where we could share our life experiences. And like she said, I bring people on and highlight them, and it's super fun. I think the more we focus on ourselves and our own fears, the more enclosed we feel. That when we start to step out and do things that scare us, like going live in front of people and bringing other people on and making mistakes and doing all of that, I think that when we can step out of that fear and actually chase our dreams is when things like this start happening. Like Nicole invited me to this last minute and I was like, sure.
And I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you did. And I think what you just said is so important. We learn through our actions that we take, and those ones where we're going to speak and we're going to share our words in front of people, our voice in front of people can be so intimidating. But what happens almost instantly is that feeling of, I did it. I did it. And you get to know yourself at a much different level. And Laura, you have been doing that with so many people. Can you tell us, and I'm going to have Barbie ask you a question right after this, but I want to ask you, how many interviews have you done over the last 2 years? Because I know you have done many and have helped so many people bring their voice to life. So if you could let us know that, I would love to hear that.
Okay, well, last count was around 361. And this is something that I had no experience in. So I just want to encourage anyone out there who, might be thinking, I want to do this kind of thing, that it's possible. So I just jumped in and started. My first interview was my mom. Don't we all start with those who we're comfortable with? And so she came on. She's an entrepreneur. She's amazing. She's almost 80 years old. She's still diving into tech to this day. And so she's a great example for me. So I thought, well, who else to bring on and highlight than my awesome mom? And so then it just kind of rolled out from there, and I just offered free interviews to anyone who really wanted to talk about themselves and get their message out there, and hopefully to get more clients, to get more exposure, to make connections with other people who've gone through life experiences. And what I learned probably the most in that first year is that there are so many amazing people out there, and starting an Be Awesome network and calling it awesome and inviting people in to share their awesomeness starts this, kind of ripple effect that, we're all awesome. And that's my message. And that's my heart, is that I really do want people to know that they're awesome. I modeled myself after Mel Robbins, and, I thought, well, dream big, right? And so I like to tell people every time I'm on camera that, and I just look straight in the camera, I just say, you are awesome. And you truly are. And when you start to believe that in your heart, it starts to resonate in your body and float up to your mind, because your mind has a hard time catching up sometimes. And then you start to show up differently. And so if you ever want to, if you haven't heard it yet, hear it from me. You're awesome, and we can be awesome together. So that's kind of the heartbeat of what I do, and I love it.
Wow. I love that. Well, okay. So I have so many questions, but I think, first of all, I just want to say, I love how you turned pain to purpose. I think as women, we need voices doing that every day because of what we go through. And I love that. So I have to ask you, of all those interviews and all the people, is there one that you have that stood out, over others, that made a difference in your life, or really, really caused a change, or something that changed you?
Wow, that is a lot to process. Out of 300. No, there are people like Nicole and Debbie and founders of my network. Actually, the first 100, that was a really special period of time where I was kind of still getting my bearings, and I was fumbling through things and forgetting things. And I think, Nicole, when we were interviewing, my interview was, or I'm sorry, my internet was super spotty, so I kept freezing, and Nicole just kept talking.
Yeah, I 100% remember that, because you kept saying, just hold on, just hold on. But I love that. Keep going. It was so good.
Yeah. And it just was, this experience of meeting new people. I think rather than pick one person, I'll pick kind of a theme that I learned throughout that whole year. And before I started the Be Awesome Network, I had a very limited viewpoint of people around the world. Always lived in the same state my whole life, didn't really understand other cultures or have had the experience to go find other cultures and experience them. And after about 100, well, probably before that, but just being so global and meeting these people who have amazing qualities and hearts, and they just grew up differently and they believe differently. But the heartbeat of it all is that we are here to make a difference. And I want to make a difference. And here's what I learned, and here's what I know, and here's how maybe it can help you. And whether that was something that I was familiar or not with, like all these different modalities, I had no idea. And Nicole has a lot of modalities too. And so it was like, okay, all these healing modalities, and out of everyone, I just think that concept was just sinking in more and more as I kind of went through. And so I learned a lot. I learned a lot on how to have a global mindset. And I have a big heart. So now I was just like, okay, now I need to expand my thinking, right? So I think that's probably what I would choose.
I think that is so beautiful. What a great question, Barbie, because you, by putting yourself out there and by taking this action, your life expanded so much. How, like, the connection helped you think differently, see things differently. And isn't that a beautiful way for us to grow and expand in life? I think what a gift that was for you, but also such a gift for them, because they also got to share all of their gifts and their modalities, and together you have grown. And so thank you for sharing that. That was truly, truly beautiful. I wanted to ask you, if there was a woman out there right now and she has had a dream on her heart, or she does have something that she knows that would really help somebody out there, what have you seen has been the best way to get them out of that place of hesitation into actually saying yes to being interviewed by you, or by, just putting themselves out there? What would you say is something that they can use to do that?
That's a great question. And I love that we're talking about fear already as a theme, and resiliency, and the fear of speaking in front of people is big, right? Like Barbie said, it's huge. It's bigger than death in some cases. So I would just say that, whatever it is that is the dream in your heart, it doesn't have to be speaking in front of people. It could be writing a book, or it could be, taking that next step in your business, putting yourself out there in a different way. It could be, wanting to be a part of a group of moms that are in your community, and you just feel like you're on the fringe, but maybe if you just said something, maybe they would start noticing you, like things like that we overanalyze in our own heads. I feel like, for me, my experience was, you can think it to death, but the most important thing to do is take that first step, whatever it is. Because once you take that first step, you start to kind of shift your mind. Like, you go from that fear to the excitement, you go from anxiety to excitement. And it is true, because I went through a neurological crash. So I learned a lot about, your nervous system and all of that, box breathing, all the things you guys have been talking about. It is true that, the anxiety, which I struggled with and had horrible anxiety attacks that were all over my body for 20 minutes at a time, that anxiety is the same experience as excitement. So if you think about, oh gosh, I'm anxious or I'm excited, like I'm going to a football game, and this is gonna be so exciting, right? Just like reframe that anxiety into excitement. Think of the positive thing that's going to happen as a result of that action step, and that will help you kind of move that along into, all of a sudden you're taking that one step, and then that kind of fuels your fire, and then you take the next step and the next step, and then you look back 2 years later and you've done 360 interviews. How did that happen, right?
Barbie, would you like to ask the next question to Lori?
Sure. You have had an incredible explosion of business. so much success so very quickly. And if you look at, we have a lot of leaders out there that are watching today. If you had something that you could share with them that might help them, maybe depending on where they are in their journey, to how they can expand, or a lesson you learned, something that would give them maybe a takeaway from today, what would that be?
Okay, I need to ask you to kind of rephrase that question.
I guess what I'm looking for is, because there's so many leaders, it's a leadership summit, so there's a lot of leaders watching us today. Have you learned something along the way while you built this that might be really helpful to somebody who's either starting or in the process of building their business?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's another thing. If you ever are not understanding, just ask a question.
Yep.
I guess I would say, gosh, leadership is so individual, and we are all leaders, right? So envisioning yourself as a leader, because everyone has influence, everyone has a sphere of influence, whether that's a smaller group in your community or a large stage that you're talking to. Like, I was just talking to my friend the other day about some of the things that Nicole and Debbie and I have done collaboratively, and just feeling like, you're in front of this audience, right? And sometimes it's harder to speak and lead a small group, harder to lead a small group than it is the masses, right? Because you don't know the masses, but you know these people that are in your small group. So the nice thing, I guess, about leadership, and what I would say to someone who is wanting to kind of up their game in leadership is, we talked about this just recently, finding a mentor and kind of hooking your wagon to that mentor. And I would say, shoot big. Like for me, if I really was wanting to be Mel Robbins, I would message Mel Robbins. I wouldn't be afraid, because, am I ready for that? I'm not ready for that yet. I know that. But, find that person that you aspire to be like, not to copy, but to be like, and just reach out, because the worst thing they can do is say no. And then, if there is a response, maybe someone on their team has, someone else in mind. But yeah, I would say find that person who you aspire to be, who you really, because everyone has that in their minds and in their hearts. Like, I really love this person. Maybe it's Oprah, maybe it's who knows, right? And just model yourself after that person, learn from that person, even if it's from afar, and then you will pick up those tools. It's so interesting to me that I picked up some of the tools I had no clue about, just by observing and being in that room, right?
Well, I love that. And you know what I love is that you're not only saying it, you've done it. Because just in the few span of me meeting you here, you've said, I didn't know what I was doing, but I jumped in. I didn't know, but I said yes. And that's the key, I think, to success, is jumping in and giving it your all, and knowing in the back of your head, if I can't do this perfectly now, I will master it. But if I say no, or I don't do it, I will never have opportunities. So I love the fact that you're walking the life you're talking about.
Yeah, I agree so deeply. And I've been able to witness this of Lori and Barbie Ray. You just nailed it 100%, right? I don't know, but I'm going to try. And the thing about the trying part is that you gain so much more self-esteem from that trying than anything else, right? Because you can say you did. You can say you put it out there instead of not. And so I have seen that in Lori consistently. The last thing I want to ask you, Lori, and I don't have time, if you have time for one more little question, but I wanted to ask you, how have you been able to stay so consistent for so long in doing this? Because it's taken a lot of effort. It's taken a lot of your time. If you could give us one little thing about that consistency, what has been driving you to stay consistent in this business?
Oh gosh, that's such a good question, and I do have to run. I have like 1 minute, but to answer that in a short way is just knowing your why and holding on to that why. Because if you lose sight of your why and you get stuck in the daily grind or the success that you're having or the lack of success, the numbers, you know what I mean? If you start to focus on those details and you're forgetting your why, the big picture, why are you here? What are you wanting to share? What are you really wanting to get across? And who are you wanting to reach? Then you lose sight of that and you've kind of lost your bearings. And so for me, the consistency has been going back to that my reason why. And if you stay in that flow, I guess you could call it, people come your way and things come your way and things just seem easy. But if you're fighting tooth and nail, then there's probably something off. And just knowing yourself, loving yourself, and knowing your why. I think that's probably what I would say.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lori, for being here and being so awesome. I hope you have a beautiful day. And we learned so much today from you. So thank you so much. Well,
Wow,
Barbie.
what incredible. Yeah, what a great guest.
What a great way to be ending today. I think it's such a beautiful conversation. And Barbie, what I want to ask you, because today's been incredible. Like, I think today, every time I'm part of these summits, I always walk away with so much more knowledge, first of all, so much more hope, possibility, excitement, so many things. What would you say today has been some of your greatest takeaways? I think you said some of them already, but what have been some of your greatest takeaways today?
I think for me, I really just love the stories of resilience and listening to other people and all that they've been through and their triumphs and how they pursued their goals or how they got past their pain points. And then just the fact that so many, in fact, to the woman, everybody here today has been an empowering person whose life has been focused on moving forward and helping others around them. And I don't know how many times we get the opportunity to watch the stories and learn from leaders that have made a difference in everyone's life that they touch and how it goes so far. And even they were talking before about the spiral effect and how the words that someone says today, you never know the ripple effect of how that's going to be with somebody listening in the audience.
Yes.
And I have just story after story today. I've just been so impressed with the women that have taken the stage and how they have made a difference in the ripple effect in the people that they know have come back to them and the people they'll never know. They've made a difference with their lives.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? I think that's so true. Every word spoken here today, every story told here today, you really don't realize how far that could go. And, I think about that all the time is that I often from these days go and tell somebody about the story I heard. And then that they're going to tell somebody and they're going to tell somebody. And those stories actually help us figure out life. They help us move through life. And I think what you said was so important too, is that many of us, or at least I have always been, when I watch these incredible women succeed in life and do these amazing things, I have always been in awe of them, but also wanting to know how they did it. How did they think? What did they do? The stories that got them there, all of that. So I agree with you so deeply that stories are so important because they share our commonality. They share so many things with us. And I think the other word I had for us today too was connection. I feel today that connection was evident all the way through from every single woman who talked. I remember Karen, and I'm sorry I don't have her last name right now at the top of my head, but she was talking about, I believe that we're all soul sisters on this, and she could just feel the energy because so many like-minded people today wanting to be more, to give more, to live more, all of those things. And we all came together from that place. And I think, these are the communities, if you're out there watching this right now and you want more of this, find those communities, be part of those communities, because it changes your life. It really, truly does.
It absolutely does. It's Karen M, and I'm trying to remember how to say her name because I don't want to say it poorly, but it's Karen M from today.
Yes, from the panel, she was amazing, and I loved it.
Her passion was, and the improv and just the stories. She was so much fun to watch today. Just another amazing moment. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Wow. Yeah, it was an absolutely beautiful day. And I think the other thing that I love here is that there were so many courageous women in the room. And one thing that seems to come across every single person, just like Lori was saying, is that, yes, you can think about the change you want to make a lot, and you can get in your head and sit there a lot. But taking those baby steps, one step at a time, you start to become that person. You start to do what you need to do in this world. And we need you. We need your gifts. We need your light. We need your compassion in your heart. And you can see that all these women, I'm sure at certain times in their life, had a lot of fear, but they took that one step and then the next step. And now look at what they've been able to create.
It's such a blessing to hear those stories, because, sometimes we feel alone. Sometimes, we're swimming in bills. We're swimming in problems. We're swimming in caregiving. We're swimming in all these tasks and all these things that we're expected to do. And to hear that there's so many other women out there living our moment, it just helps you're not alone. Women, we're just one giant community of people that can care for each other, reach out and help each other. And we're all voices that can elevate each other.
We are. And I want to really do a huge shout out to Karen today, because as you can see, she was on here for hours today. And one thing I always, when I look at Karen, and I'm sure people watching can really see, is that she's very invested in every single person that talks. She is very present. She is always there, and she's really there to reflect back people's greatness. And as you can see, she has such a huge passion for women's voices, for women's hearts, their gifts. And to watch her do her thing is always a massive example to me of beautiful leadership, of deep, compassionate leadership, empathetic leadership. And I am just truly, truly grateful to witness that. And I'm also so grateful to Mo Rock and the Los Angeles team for, having us come on this summit and being able to reach more women in this world and help women's voices really escalate and share their gifts and their messages.
I absolutely agree. One of the things that I really respect about Mo Rock was that he saw that there was predominantly many more male speakers than women getting the stage. And for him to go out of his way to make sure that there was a stage for us to speak on. And then Karen picking up that stage and running with it and saying, I got this. And this is only the second leadership, Women's Global Germ. See, that's what we're talking about when you're speaking and you have those moments. It's okay. We're human. But this is only the second Global Women's Journal Leadership Summit. And last year we reached almost 10,000 live views. And I sure as heck hope we're going to blow past that this year. But the thing is that Karen has put together these amazing speakers because women need to hear women. And I know we've had men listeners out there today. And I want to say thank you to you as well, because you're elevating us by caring about what we have to say. So thank you, Mo Rock. And you know what? Thank you, Julianne, not only for being here today and being wonderful, but for putting on this year's Leadership Week with Karen coming up the first week in May, where another incredible lineup of speakers are going to join us. So we get to do this all over again tomorrow. That's the exciting part, is we're only halfway through and we still have dynamic speakers to share with you. I'm so excited. And Nicole, this has just been so much fun sharing the stage with you and recapping all the fun that we've had today.
Yeah, no, thank you, Barbie. It's been amazing. And yes, please stay tuned for tomorrow, because if you enjoyed today and you got something out of this today, please stay tuned and come in tomorrow. And please share it with people in your life that you love and care about, because what I do know is that this ripple effect we were just talking about, this really makes a difference for people, right? It really does.
Yes.
It makes a huge difference. So if you can share it to people that you love, please do. We would love that, because like Barbie Ray said, last year was close to 10,000 views, and we want to even blow past that this year, because what we know is that the more people that get these messages, the more the world changes. And so thank you very much for tuning in today.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you tomorrow.
We will see you tomorrow.
Ever heard the spotlight isn't for everyone? They're wrong. Let us show you why. Command the Room Boot Camp. Get the assist, take the hot seat, and use this QR code for special summit pricing.